everyone. It is Friday, September the 20th, around 11:30 a.m. And today I'm hiking on the northern Tennessee side of Great Smoky Mountains National Park, following the Snake Den Ridge Trail from Cosby Campground. If that sounds familiar to you, it's because I did this hike about a year and a half ago when I bagged 7 6,000-foot peaks in the northeastern Smokies during a weekend backpacking trip of April 2018. And I am redoing Mount Guyot today as a special occasion, not for me, but for two well-known North Carolina peak baggers who are attempting to finish their 100th and final North Carolina county high point. Tom Layton has summited over 900 peaks, or logged over 900 summits. Some of them are repeat, of course. He's out of Boone, North Carolina. He's had some articles written about him. He's well known to peak baggers across the Southeast. The other gentleman is Henry Farr, the cousin of Jennifer Farr Davis. And I've been communicating with both of these guys for a few years now through Peakbagger, email, and Facebook, but never met them. So I thought it'd be nice to meet them on their big accomplishment, finishing all 100 county high points. It's been many years in the making for Tom, who is, I think, in his late 60s or early 70s. And this is a very tough final hike for him. And for that reason, Henry and Tom stayed the night at nearby Newport, Tennessee, and said they would start this hike between 7 and 7:30 a.m. But since it's a regular work week, I worked yesterday and woke up at 4 in the morning, drove all the way to Cosby, started the hike around 9:30. So at minimum, I'm probably 2 hours behind them. I figured when I did this a year and a half ago, I had a larger backpack and about double the weight, and I did the Snake Den Ridge Trail in about 2 hours and 20 minutes, which is an elite pace. Really, I was in good shape back then. So I thought in the 7.8 miles from Cosby to the bushwhack location for Mount Guyot, I'd be able to catch up to those two old timers, because they said they were probably going to take this trail slow at about 1 to 1.5 miles per hour. And I'm about 2.75 miles per hour on this trail. And I'm actually going slower than I did last time, even though I have half the weight. I think I'm going to be about 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 40 minutes. So I don't know what I was on back then. It wasn't steroids, but I was just in much better hiking shape and going to the gym multiple times a week. And taking about 8 months off from hiking and going to the gym has really taken its toll on my endurance. We're also going to be joined by Peter Barr, the legend. You've probably heard of him before. He wrote the North Carolina Lookout Towers book and is the trail coordinator for Conserving Carolina, and so far has won 2 national trail awards in the past few years for the Wildcat Rock Trail and the Weed Patch Mountain Trail in the Upper Hickory Nut Gorge. I've also never met him before, even though we've communicated a lot. So it's going to be a nice little meeting at the summit of Mount Guyot, the second highest peak in the Great Smokies. I also have an ulterior motive to this hike. When I did this a year and a half ago, I bagged a tri-corner knob, and for the South Beyond 6,000 challenge, you have the option of either doing Tri-Corner or Mount Yonagusca, which are directly across from each other and are listed at the same elevation. Recently, LiDAR and ArcGIS has indicated that Mount Yonagusca may be about 30 feet higher. So that change was reflected on Peakbagger and Lists of John. And although I completed the challenge for the Carolina Mountain Club, I've been very annoyed looking at my Peakbagger page that shows my list is 97.5% complete when it was 100% complete because of this change in elevations. So after I get to Guyot, my plan is to bushwhack towards the Tri-Corner Knob shelter and tag Yanaguska, and then jog back to meet them going back down to Cosby before they finish, so we can have a beer in the parking lot. So just the hike up to Guyot is about 17 to 18 miles and 4,400 feet of elevation change. Adding Yanaguska, I think is going to be about 22 miles, and the elevation gain is going to be about 5,200 feet. So this is a big hike. This is the biggest hike I've done in years, which should get me ready for finishing the entire Black Mountains Crest horseshoe loop in a few weeks to finish the Black Mountains Hiking Challenge. I'm already a little bit behind schedule, but I think I can still catch up to them. But just for reference, Cosby, the parking lot, begins at about 2,300 feet, and the Snake Den Ridge Trail and the road walk is about 5.8 miles to the Appalachian Trail and about 3,500 feet of elevation change. So it's just uphill the entire way. And I started out fast, but I've slowed down considerably as I've gone on for a few miles. But, you know, I've been rambling on. I think I got a mile, maybe a mile and a half left until the Appalachian Trail, where it levels out and then gradually climbs around Old Black and Mount Guyot. So hopefully I'll get to the views from the helipad in about an hour and meet up with them before they get off trail. The Appalachian Trail passing through Deer Creek Gap. About to reach the helipad. Stop for a snack break. Just so green. Ghost Forest on south side of Mount Guyot. The summit of Mount Guyot. I know I was saying Guyot earlier in the video. That's what someone corrected me a year and a half ago when I first did it, because I thought it was Guyot or Guyot. And Peter says it's Guyot with a silent T, as I kind of suspected since it's a French name. So, I don't know, maybe that's the third pronunciation I've used in the last couple of years. And maybe someone will give me a fourth pronunciation on YouTube. Either way, this is the second highest peak in the Great Smoky Mountains at 6,621 feet. I kind of left the other three behind so I can grab a picture of them making the summit. It is really flat up here, so there actually could be a higher point in this direction where we just came from. But previously, when I did this a year and a half ago, I came up from the north side, which is what is usually shown on trip reports on Peakbagger and GPS tracks, and that would be to my right. I just went too directly southeast towards a plateau between the false summit and the true summit, where there's a gnarly ghost forest that I've talked about previously. And Peter agreed with me that that's the worst ghost forest he's encountered in North Carolina. But what we did, we came from the southwest side and came up, but we went too far to the south and encountered another pretty nasty ghost forest, but not nearly as bad as the one behind me. So it took a while to get up here, I think 40 minutes, but they should be approaching in a few seconds. Y'all are almost there. There you go.
There it is.
99 out of 100 and 100 out of 100.
Oh boy.
Now I need a helicopter.
Alright. Here's to the land of the longleaf pine, the summer land where the sun doth shine, where the wheat grow strong and the strong grow great. Here's to down home the old North State. Here's to the land of the cotton bloom white, where the scuppernong perfumes the breeze at night.
Oh yeah.
Where the soft southern moss and jessamine mate neath the murmuring pines of the old North State. Here's to the land where the galax grows, where the rhododendron's rosette glows, where soars Mount Mitchell's summit great in the land of the sky in the old North State. We're not done.
This
Here's
is
to the
long.
land where the maidens are fair,
Yes.
where friends are true and cold hearts rare. The near land, the dear land, whatever fate, the blessed land, the best land, the old North State.
Cheers.
Cheers. That was almost a minute long.
I was wondering how you get Guyot.
I'm standing on the tiny summit of Mount Yonagusca, 6,178 feet in elevation. I wasn't actually sure if I was going to be able to add this on, but I was peer pressured into doing it, especially by Peter, since I haven't done it before. And I learned that he thought that they had changed the rules on the Carolina Mountain Club website, where Tri-Corner Knob no longer officially counted for the South Beyond 6,000 Challenge. And he didn't notice my submission for completion that I did Tri-Corner instead of Yonagusca. He said he would have denied me, so he encouraged me to finish it, even though I already got my certificate and patch. But because the group was pretty slow, we didn't get to the bushwhack to hike up to Guyot, or Guyot. I'm going to pronounce this so wrong multiple times, so deal with it. We didn't make it to the summit until about 3:50, and we hung out there, took pictures, had a nice snack break, and got back down to the Appalachian Trail around 5 o'clock. And they encouraged me that they weren't going to go downhill too fast, maybe 1.5 to 2 miles an hour. It's about 7.5 miles from where they were back to the parking lot. And the extra out and back from where I was about 3.5 to 4 miles. And I decided to just trail run it just like I did a year and a half ago when I was behind schedule. You know, mainly on the flats and the downhills, but I am pretty beat right now because Yonagusca is definitely harder than Tri-Corner Knob. It's about 300 feet up from the Balsam Mountain Trail, a lot steeper, and there's many more ferns covering everything, a lot more deadfall, and I don't think I took the optimal route, but in total it took me about 15 minutes to get up here and 45 minutes to get from where I split from the group. So once I get back to that original split location, I'm going to be about 4 miles behind, maybe 3.5. So I should be able to catch up with them by, I don't know, around 7 o'clock, about halfway down the Snake Den Ridge Trail. But overall, it's going to be a really long day. I think we're going to have to finish in headlamps around 8 or 8:30. But I'm going to be able to do my original plan, which was 22 miles and over 5,000 feet of elevation gain. And I feel pretty good, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to run a lot of the return unless it's a downhill. But it's about 6 o'clock, so I need to get moving. But I guess this officially completes my South Beyond 6,000 challenge, even though it's not posted on the website. So I'm guessing that over the last decade, because I think it was surveyed in 2007, and Peter thought that they changed the rules, but they never did. A lot of people who have completed it in the last 12 years probably summited Tri-Corner Knob over Yonaguska, because Tri-Corner is right beside the Balsam Mountain Appalachian Trail junction and the Tri-Corner Knob shelter, and it's a little bit easier of a bushwhack. So I'm glad I officially completed it. Now Peter won't chastise me online, and I will have 100% completion on Peakbagger. On the shoulder of Old Black at the dead tree view. It's already 7 o'clock. Sun's going to be setting in about 35 minutes. Definitely going to be a long hike out in the dark. It is 7:10 p.m. I'm back on the helipad at Deer Creek Gap. And I'm going to lose daylight in about 30 minutes, so I thought it was a good time to sign out and conclude the video when I have a good view. Behind me is the Big Creek watershed, and the pointy peak is Lufty Knob. The big flat one behind it is Big Cataloochee Mountain. In the distance there, the last big peak, kind of a conical shape, is Mount Sterling. I've done all those summits in the past. It took me about 1 hour and 40 to get back to the spot where we split. I estimated it was going to be 1.5 hours, but I was so tired. I mostly hiked the trail from the trail junction near the shelter up to the flat area around Guyot. And did some jogging on the way back here because it was mostly downhill. But I'm not feeling great. Pretty tired. Maybe getting some shin splints. My feet are hurting. So I'm not sure how much longer it's going to take for me to get out. I'm guessing at least 1.5 hours, maybe 2 hours if I jog most of the way down. But once it gets dark, it's going to be a little hazardous jogging downhill, even if the gradient and the footbed's pretty nice. You still can't go fast when it's nighttime going downhill, because you can take a bad fall. I hope I'm able to catch up with them before they finish. I believe, in that 1.5 hours, they were probably able to get maybe about 1 mile or 2 down the Snake Den Ridge Trail, so I should be able to catch up. But pretty tired. It's going to be about 12.5 hour day, and there's no way I'm going to be able to catch a brewery, sadly. Going to have to stop at fast food on the way back home. Maybe Cookout or Zaxby's, whatever's open. That's a little disappointing. But it was good to get a repeat summit of the second highest peak in the Smokies and one of the highest peaks in the southeast, Mount Guyot. No matter how I pronounce it, it is a fun summit. Pretty tough. But the Appalachian Trail around it is one of the most beautiful forest walks in the south. It is gorgeous. And I finally got to bag Mount Yonaguska, which officially completes the South Beyond 6,000 challenge for me. So, hope you enjoyed it. I know it was a very haphazard video, with a very long intro, pretty long outro, a lot of short snippets of the trail and us bushwhacking and hiking. And by the way, at the summit there, that was the official North Carolina toast that we looked up on our phone, which was really long. It was like 4 paragraphs. But we thought it'd be fun to hold the North Carolina flag and do that. So it was really nice to celebrate Tom Layton's completion of the North Carolina County High Points and Henry Farr's 99th out of 100. So see you guys next time. I think I'm going to take a break this weekend and just watch football.